There's only been 2 people who have died here, and only 1 murder, which happened in 2009. This happened in September 2022, and I was home alone. It was maybe 7 or 8 at night, so it was moderately dark but still light enough to see without a flashlight. Keep in mind, I already had suspected that someone had been stalking us before this incident. So I was doing my laundry and our dryer is out in the shed, and I just walked down the stairs to the back door when I felt someone or something was watching me. Either from behind the chicken coop or in the crawl space. I tried to call my best friend, but she wouldn't answer, so I just told myself there wasn't anything to worry about. I put the clothes in the dryer and was almost halfway back to my house when I heard this evil laugh, like a psychotic clown and a monkey mixed. I was frozen in fear, and to my surprise was coming from behind my chicken coop. I ran inside on the verge of tears when I tried to call my brother, but he didn't pick up, so I called my mum. She told me to call the police, but I was scared if they didn't find anything I would get in trouble. I looked out the window, and I saw my dog going in circles and then ran behind my chicken coop, exactly where I heard the noise. My brother got home a few minutes later, and he could see the fear in my eyes. He grabbed his gun and searched the entire property in pitch dark. It's now March, and a few days ago I was making a video for fun, and I went out by my window. I saw a path leading from under the porch to my window as if someone had been standing there. Things have also gone missing in our house before. Shoes, clothes, makeup, food. We've also found things around our property like needles, dolls with only 1 leg, and even hair with what looked like pieces of scalp on it. And I've smelled some really weird smells near the woods. The lock on the door to the crawl space has opened and closed, even though nobody goes down there unless they have to. There's bed sheets covering a hole to see inside, and I'm too scared to look inside because just days before they were put there, we all smelled something that smelled like death. I know this seems bad, but I hope that it's just a rat or something because the thought of a body under my house is shuddering. We found multiple abandoned TVs, baby stuff, like toys, bottles, cribs and high chairs. And we've even found, like I said earlier, needles with a clear, thick substance in it, and dolls and child toys with only 1 leg.
My grandmother was diagnosed with lung cancer about 10 years ago. I was absolutely devastated as she was my favourite person on earth. She lived 3 hours away from me, so I only saw her once before she died. Diagnosis to her passing was quick. Before I saw her for the last time, I decided to get rid of an old clunky jewellery box where I kept all my necklaces, which I never wear, and bought a jewellery tree instead. I went through all my pieces of jewellery and discarded stuff I didn't want, and organised the remaining pieces on the tree. During my last visit with her, I asked her where her necklace was. I was curious because she always wore it when I was a kid, but I hadn't seen it in years. Please know I wasn't asking because I wanted it. I was just reminiscing. Not really my style, anyway. She had me look all over the house in various rooms and boxes and drawers. I couldn't find it. My aunt thought she may have given it to her niece and forgotten about it. Flash forward to the day of her funeral, I was getting ready in the bathroom and decided that maybe I would wear a necklace, which again, I rarely do. I went to my jewellery tree, and sitting right there on one of the branches was the necklace. It wasn't even buried behind everything, it was right in front. I started welling up immediately and asked my husband if he had put it there. He looked at me dumbfounded and said no. I hadn't even told him about the necklace or the conversation I had with my grandmother a few weeks prior, so I believe him. To this day, I have no idea how it ended up with my jewellery. I wore it to the funeral that day, but haven't worn it since. I still have it. My aunt and dad can't explain it either. Neither were at my house in the days between, and neither would pull a stunt like that. If I hadn't just cleaned out my jewellery box, I would have thought that perhaps she gave it to me a long time before, and I had forgotten. But there's no mistaking it. It was not there before she passed away.
My husband and I like a little strange. I wouldn't say we are in an open marriage, but no matter how much we love each other, there are certain needs that just can't always be met with your partner. He knew when he met me I was going to need a little strange on occasion, and he fully understood and accepted that. He even encouraged it after he recognized giving me what I need makes me so much happier than I would be if he was the only one who could fill my desires. My husband is the best man I've ever met. He's kind, he's handsome, he's industrious in his work, he's considerate of me, he takes good care of me, and most of all, he loves me. I love him to distraction. When we first met, I never would have given him a chance, but he was so patient in his gentle pursuit of me that he won me over with his charms. Now I can't even imagine a life without him, nor do I even want to try. We lived on a peninsula in a lovely cottage on the water. In the nearby village there is a dock that larger ships port at regularly, and when I needed to scratch that itch, my dear hubby would take me into town. He knew it was best for us to pick up men who wouldn't be in town long enough to start gossip or cause us any problems. Small towns can be so closed-minded when it comes to certain things, and we both knew it was best if we kept what we did between us and the men who didn't live here and whose ships would be gone shortly after. I always knew the one I'd want the second I walked into the local tavern. When the larger ships were in port, the pubs were always rambunctious and full, and the working ladies were always looking to fill their coin purses, so nobody paid me much mind besides the one I had my eye on. It was never hard. With my long raven hair and crystal green eyes, men would follow me with one come hither look their way and a simple word whispered into their ear. They would follow me out with lust in their eyes and a drunken grin on their faces. After luring them into our cottage, my husband would make short work of killing, cutting, and preserving the meat. Nothing goes to waste, and what we can't use gets ground up or put in chum to assist my husband's fishing outings. My honey always takes good care of me. Nobody looks very hard for the sailors we take, and I'm sure in the end they actually would thank me if they knew I'd taken care of the cruelest and nastiest of the men on their ships. After all, on land or in water, a siren still has to eat.